DDT was sprayed in a lake to regulate breeding of mosquitoes. How would it affect the trophic levels in the following food chain associated with a lake? Justify your answer. Basic trophic level, there is small fish is eaten by large fish, and then hawk is a bird that eats the large fish. So DDT is sprayed in that lake. So how will it affect all these trophic levels? And you have to justify your answer.
So the chemicals like DDT, they are not degradable. They get accumulated progressively at each trophic level. Human beings occupy the top level in any food chain, so there will be maximum concentration of these chemicals. And it is due to biological magnification.
Rajesh observed a patch of greenish black powdery mass on a stale piece of bread. You have to name the organism responsible for this and its specific mode of asexual reproduction. Name its vegetative and reproductive parts. First, the A part, that name the organism responsible for this and its specific mode of asexual reproduction. The organism is Rhizopus, and it belongs to kingdom fungi. It's also commonly called as bread mold, as it grows on moist bread. That's why. Now the B part of question is name its vegetative and reproductive parts. So reproductive parts means it reproduces by spore formation. So spore formation is the specific mode of asexual reproduction. The vegetative part is called as hyphae. The group of hyphae is called mycelium. So these are the spores, and spores are found inside sporangium. And sporangium will have spores. Sporangium can be extended downwards and they can be called as hyphae. Now, if there are a group of hyphae, then we can call it as mycelium. So reproductive parts are already labeled, they are called sporangium. And hyphae forms a vegetative part. Both hyphae and sporangium will help them for spore formation and attachment on the bread. Suppose this is a stale bread and it is affected with Rhizopus. Then it will be called as bread mold. Label any 4 parts in the given diagram. So here there is one part, here there is second part, third part, fourth part, there's a fourth part, then there's a fifth part, and there is the sixth part here. So label any four parts in the given diagram and what are the two functions represented in this diagram. In the given diagram and what are the two functions represented in this diagram. The second part is lungs, and one of the function is lungs will help in exchange of gases there. The part number 3 is pulmonary vein because it carries oxygenated blood from the lungs towards the left atrium. And the part 4 is aorta. And aorta carries oxygenated blood from the left ventricle to all parts of the body. And number 5 belongs to tissues, where the aorta break up into blood vessels and blood vessels will break up into capillaries. And part number 6 is vena cava. Part number 1 is pulmonary artery that carries deoxygenated blood from right ventricle towards the lungs for oxygenation. So since the question is label any 4 parts in the given diagram, you can label any 4 parts out of these 6 parts which is shown here and write any 2 functions. So you can write the functions like this. If it is for part 2 that shows lungs, the function will be written like this. It helps in exchange of gases. Like from the atmosphere, oxygen gets inside arteries or the blood vessels, and on the blood vessels whatever carbon dioxide is there, that will go back to the lungs alveoli. And if it's about part 3, that is pulmonary vein. You can write pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium. So there goes the 2 functions. Or if you're writing about aorta, that is part number 4, then you can write aorta supplies oxygenated blood from left ventricle to the tissues. And number 5 represents the capillaries, so that can distribute oxygenated blood towards the tissues. If it's a part vena cava, then you can write vena cava carries deoxygenated blood from the tissues to right atrium. That is the 6th part labeled here. And the part number 1 is pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery's function is that it carries deoxygenated blood towards the lungs. So though there are 6 parts asked, you have to answer to the question. So the question has asked only 2 functions. So any of the 2 functions you can write.